Just a week after both the House and Senate voted unanimously to declassify intelligence on the origins of COVID-19, the president signed that bill into law on Monday, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken was on Capitol Hill yesterday testifying before two Senate panels. And when he was asked simple questions about our involvement in coronavirus research in China, he refused to provide any clear response. Take a look.
My understanding is that our teams have been working to find an accommodation. There's long-standing practice.
We got a refusal, blanket refusal. No, they are not going to give us the records. And you're refusing to release them.
No, but
it's not that you can't. There's a difference between can and may. You won't do it, but you can do it. President Biden just signed a bill saying he's going to declassify stuff. But if you declassify it and you still hide it from the American people, that's a problem.
All right, that was Kentucky Senator and ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Rand Paul, who's joining us now with more on why the State Department is refusing to hand over simple records to the Senate. Senator, good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That was something yesterday. So why is the State Department still stonewalling? Why don't they want to help investigate this?
Well, it makes them look guilty because many of the records I'm asking for are already unclassified. It also shows you the obstacles we face. So President Biden signed a bill that was passed unanimously to declassify information regarding COVID origins. And yet, even the declassified stuff they're withholding from us. So it's a bait and switch here. But I've been asking for months, nearly 6 months on this. They kind of assure me they will. In public, they respond as if they're cooperating. But in private, they send me a letter saying they will not do it. But here's the interesting rub of this. All of the information they say they will not give to me, if the Democrat chairman of my committee signs a note asking for it, they'll give it all. So they claim as if it's, the nuclear secrets and we can't reveal this to lowly senators and the public, but it's not any of such thing. And once a Democrat signs, they will. They just resist until they get a Democrat chairman to sign a request. And I've been bugging at least 5 different Senate chairmen now, all Democrats, to sign or co-sign requests for records. And we'll see. I think I'm going to get a breakthrough eventually. I think Senator Menendez on foreign relations is sympathetic, and we'll see. Once I get one of them to sign it, then we'll get these records, and we'll be able to look and see if any of the research money that went from the State Department to China, if any of it funded research that was suspicious for the creation of COVID.
I hope the chairman, Senator, is sympathetic. It's rare, very rare in Washington to see the House and Senate unanimous about anything, and they were about COVID-19 origins research. Did you speak with the chairman yesterday? Did he give you any indication as to whether or not he would sign this and approve it?
I've spoken both privately and publicly with him, and yesterday I wanted to make sure that he understood that my ire was towards the Secretary of State and not towards him.
Right.
I know that Senator Menendez, when he's been in the minority, has been frustrated with getting records himself.
Okay.
I've tried to help him and done everything I can. I've assured these Democrats that were the roles reversed, were I the chairman of the committee and the Democrats were in the minority, I would cooperate with any Democrat request for records from public officials because I think the government should be transparent. And I wanted to make sure that he knew that all this blather that is on networks like CNN said, oh, democracy's under attack and democracy's going to go away. Well, part of democracy is transparency. So Democrats should not be hiding documents. They've been hiding documents for 3 years. If they truly believe in democracy and it's not some sort of just charade that they want to parade on some of these networks that are favorable to them,
right,
they should release these documents.
Senator, you also questioned the CEO of Moderna yesterday. Moderna has made billions of dollars from producing these COVID-19 vaccines. Let's take a look at one exchange.
You're saying that for ages 16 to 24 among males who take the COVID vaccine, their risk of myocarditis is less than people who get the disease.
That is my understanding,
That is not true, and I'd like to enter into the record 6 peer-reviewed papers from the Journal of Vaccine, the Annals of Medicine, that say the complete opposite of what you say. I also spoke with your president just last week, and he readily acknowledged in private that, yes, there is an increased risk of myocarditis.
Okay, you're a senator, you're also a doctor. Nobody's talking about this. How concerned are you about myocarditis?
Well, the thing is for certain age groups, it is a concern. Anytime you take a medicine or anytime you take a vaccine, you have to weigh the risks and benefits. So if you're over 70 or you're 30 pounds overweight and you're 50 years old, I would say that the risks of the disease outweigh any possible risks of the vaccine, and I would probably take it, but I wouldn't mandate it on you. It'd be your choice. But if you're 15 years old and have already had COVID and a male, I think the risks of the vaccine, even though they're rare for myocarditis, are greater than the risks of COVID, which are almost non-existent for a 15-year-old. So these are risk and benefits that individuals need to have information to discuss. But here's how bad the CDC is. The CDC says if your 15-year-old boy has had COVID, they still want him vaccinated. If he gets vaccinated and gets myocarditis, they say wait till his heart heals up and he gets out of the hospital and then give him another vaccine. What mom or dad in America would give their kid a vaccine again after they already had a heart inflammation from the first? There's also in-between solutions. So Dr. Marty Makary from Johns Hopkins, he's offered, well, why don't we give them one vaccine? 90% of the heart inflammation happens after the second vaccine.
Right.
But this is the malpractice that's going on in our country. Harvard, Princeton, University of Chicago, all these great schools, supposedly great schools, are mandating 3 vaccines for these young men. And I think that is malpractice and goes against all of the science.
Okay. Senator, I know that you and your colleague, Congressman Chip Roy, are introducing the NIH Reform Act earlier this month, basically, or this morning, rather, I should say, to eliminate Dr. Fauci's, the NIH and put term limits on how long people can serve. Just 5 seconds. Do you think that will see the light of day? Will that pick up any steam in the House and Senate?
I think it needs to, because everything we know about Anthony Fauci is his tenure was too long, his power too great, and that power corrupts, and it obviously corrupted Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, great point. Senator, by the way, I just wanted to, this is our first day back on DirecTV in 2 months. Just wanted to thank you for your support of Newsmax as we went through this entire fiasco. We appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
The more speech, the better.
Yeah. Senator Rand Paul from the great state of Kentucky joining us this morning. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Keep us posted on the NIH Reform Act.